So here we'll analyze fraudulent call data with stream analytics using Azure and then visualize the results in Power BI. So first we'll head over to the prerequisites. In first step we'll need to create an account with Azure subscription. So we can follow this link to create an account. We'll get Azure subscription. We'll need credit card info for that. Next step is to download the phone. I already have account, so I'll skip that step. Next step is to download the phone call event generator application from here. Let's I'll put it here. Extract it with an application. Next step is to you need a Power BI account, so we can create a Power BI account from here. We'll need either a school account or a work account for that. Personal email does not work. I already have an account, so I'll skip that. Next is to sign into Azure portal. So here we'll select create a resource, then event hub, create a resource, event hub. You can also search it here, then create subscription resource group. Create if you don't have. Name it as source namespace name. Let's say MS account namespace. Select your pricing tier. We'll go over to the standard. Next is features, tags. If you press create, validation successful, so we are done creating the namespace. Okay, after validation is done, we'll click on create. Okay, we are now done with it. We'll go over to this your whatever namespace you have. Click on plus create plus event hub. We can also use this values if we wanted. Next is event hub to the name. Okay, let's use this one, my event hub. Partition count to 2 and then click create. Okay, we are done with it. Next go to your my event hub. Go to event hub. Shared access policies. Next is we need to add policy. So click on plus policy name. I create my policy. Click manage, create. So it's done now. Click on your policy, then copy this string, connection string, primary key, and save it in some file. And create a file here. After we are done with, let's start the event generator application. So we have already downloaded this. Let's go over to the directory. Here right click, either use Windows Terminal if you have installed it, or press Shift key on keyboard and right click. You'll get an option to use PowerShell, or you can just use CMD command prompt. Change the partition, change the directory to this. But before running the application, we'll have to modify this file. We'll have to add this policy inside, policy credential inside this file. So open it in Notepad or any other text editor. I'm using it, so I'll open with it. We'll need to change these two strings here. So first is to event hub name. Okay, so we'll type our event hub name. The one we created was my event hub. So next is to add your key. Use that file, copy everything from here, paste it here. We'll need to remove this one entity path. Okay, save it and go back to the sample application. Now we'll use this command to run the application. You will get start to stream the data. If you get any error, that means that string might be incorrect, whatever you have put. Make sure that there is no entity path in the end. So it's working. Let's Control C, close it for now. Here are all the details, what the data is represent. Next is create and stream analytics job. So we'll go to the first was stream analytics job. Create. Job name. Let's use the suggested values. So select your resource. Streaming units 1. Create. Okay, it's done. Go to your resource. Configure job output. So here in the job topology, go to the input. Next is click on add stream input event hub. Let's use this suggested values for now. Okay, create authentication, change it to connection string. Everything else is fine. Okay, save. You can see the progress here. Connection done, so we're done with making it. Yeah. Next is to configure output similarity. Go to outputs, add. Here we'll need to use Power BI. We want to show the output inside Power BI, so we'll use Power BI. We'll get the input inside Azure and show it in with Power BI. So authorize. Select your email. Mine is with this account. Output alias. Use the suggested values. My workspace. Dataset. Table name. Keep the authentication to user. Save. Okay, we are done. Let's go to Power BI. Sign in. So here in my workspaces, right now you will not see any data set because we haven't started the start the stream analytics job. Start. Okay, we failed to start it because we haven't put any query here. We'll need to use a query. So let's go over to the query section in job topology. Here we'll put our queries. So let's try the first one. Select star from cost 3. Yes. Let's test this query. Okay, I tried it again and it worked. We'll see the result here. Similar to this, we can select what we want to show from that sample data using these queries. Count incoming calls by reach, and we can test this query also. So it's working. Next is to detect SIM fraud using self-join. So we can use this query to detect SIM fraud in the sample data. Test query. We got the result. So it's working. So whatever results we want to show in Power BI, we have to save that query. So whenever we run this job, stream analytics job, it will run this query and we can use the visualize the results inside Power BI. So go to overview, start. So we can see our query here, what we are trying to run. It will take quite a while, so I'll skip over. Okay, we are is done now. Started. Head over to your Power BI account. We'll see that data set inside my workspaces. We'll have to wait a little bit for it to start showing. So we'll wait for a bit. Okay, for it to show up, we'll also need to run this application terminal, because data set that we have to show inside this Power BI need to have some values. Right now we are not running the application, so it doesn't have any value. We'll run this. As soon as it gets some information on fraud calls, it will start showing up the data set here. So we'll wait for a bit. Okay, so it has now started to show up here, data sets. And we can go from home, click on your workspace, and here it is. Next is to start the job and visualize output. So next is to click on this plus new, and then click on this dashboard. Name your dashboard. Let's call it Fraudulent call. Create. We are inside this dashboard, so we'll need to add a tile. Select custom streaming data, your data set. It will only show up when you have started the application, and there are some data on fraud calls. Next, call, select field for calls. So we are getting the output here. Next, okay. Let's create another tile to show timeline from the data. No. Create data set name. Select line chart. Access add value, window end, values, fraudulent call. Next, apply. So I'll skip over to some time. Like, okay, we are getting data for like 1 minute window. We can remove it and let's add it for 10 minutes. Line chart, access, values, change it to 10 minutes, apply. So I'll skip over to after 10 minutes and show you how it looks like. Okay, after 10 minutes, here's how it looks like. So our next step is to show everything from this Power BI into a web application. So let's go to the next part. Embedding your Power BI dashboard in web application. So first we need to use the sample ASP.NET application. We'll download it from here and install it. Use the net framework. We don't need this one, we'll need 4.8. So set up the application, go to Power BI developer samples. Here, since we are using dashboard example, we'll need to use this one, GitHub repository. Here, go back into the directory structure one cell. So in that framework, we'll use this one, embed for your organization. So first step is to download .NET Framework 4.8. We can download and install from here. We'll need this one, developer pack, not this one, runtime. This is already included in Windows 10. So install this developer pack. I've already installed it. Next step is to use some form of ID. So Visual Studio, I've already installed it, Visual Studio 2019. We go over to Visual. here, downloaded from here, community 2019. After you have downloaded it, open it, continue. You will see here available. Okay, install, modify. You will see this window, not the previous one. So here are all the components you will need to install: ESP.NET and web development, and the last one, .NET Core plus .NET Core cross-platform development, and download it. I have already installed it, so I'll leave it here. Next step is to clone this repo, since we need to run this application inside this one, embed for your organization part, this one. So over here, code, download zip, save file, put it here, extract, .NET framework, we want this one. Okay, I'll copy it outside. Yeah, now open it and open this with Visual Studio. Open it, Microsoft Visual Studio. So before running this web application, we'll need to configure few things. Here in this folder, user owns data, we'll need to edit this web.config. Here, after running it, we need to set some parameters in web.config. So it is open. Okay, this is for customers. We are looking for embed for your organization. So register an Azure and use this link to register an application embed for your organization. Sign in to your Power BI account. I've already signed in, so click on next. Register your application. Let's say it's Power BI app. Homepage URL, put it https localhost 5000. Choose custom URL, put it https 44300. It's available in this file web.config. Open it with any text editor. Here we'll need to put these two values, client ID and client secret, which in reality is application ID and application secret. So we need to get those two IDs, so that's why we are doing this step. Here we'll need these three permissions: read all dashboard, read all report, read all workspaces. In this case, since we want to show this data in a web application. Dashboard, report, workspaces. Register. Let's name our workspace as PI workspace. Create workspace. Now we got the application ID and application secret. Let's copy these two. We'll also copy this workspace ID. Save. Then copy this application ID in that web.config file. Put it here inside client ID. Copy this app secret. Paste it in client secret. Then save it. So then open this project in Visual Code. Press Ctrl plus F5 to run the application. Just make sure that inside tools and you get packet manager, open the settings that it's allowed to download missing packages. So it's built now here. Now if we log in, we will not see any data because we don't have anything here inside that workspace that we created right now here. So in order to get that data, we were like streaming that data inside my workspace instead of that newer one that we created right now. This one is empty. So we'll need to put that streaming output inside this workspace. So we'll head over to, I'll close this. Head over to Azure, then go to outputs. Before we can delete it, we can either delete it or create a new one. Let's delete it. So let me stop it first. To outputs. Okay, I refreshed the page and got the option to delete it. Create a new one. Power BI. Authorize. Select your email. Put alias. Let's go back. Figure job output here. Data set. Table name. Make sure they see user token. Now change the workspace to the newly created one, Power BI workspace. So we can stream the data inside Power BI in the new workspace. Let's wait for it to complete. Close this for now. It's done. Go over to overview. We'll run the same query. We'll start the streaming analytics job. It will take a while, so I'll skip over. Okay, it has been started successfully. I'll run the application again so that we get the data set inside the Power BI, because otherwise that won't have any output and will not show up here. We'll have to wait for a bit for it to show up. User workspace, we can also access it from here. We'll have to wait for a bit to okay, we got it. Similarly, like previously we created tiles inside dashboard, we'll do it again. Workspace, new dashboard, edit, add a tile, streaming data. Let's create another one. Line chart, access, value, last 10 minutes, apply. We'll have to wait for it to show up the different tiles and the time data. Okay, it's showing up now. So we now have to use a sample web application to show it on web in this data. So okay, let's build that application again. Sign in. Okay, we cannot click it now. We have to set a web URL inside Azure. So we'll move over to that. Okay, for some reason, I was not able to click on that sign into Power BI. It turned out there's some bug. So I'll just restart it. In Visual Studio, there was a bug in Visual Studio. Let me open the project. So I'll run it again. Now it's working. Sign into Power BI. Let me pick my account connected to Power BI. So accept. To dashboard. Let's choose dashboard, fraudulent calls, embed. Okay, we can now see our data inside our web application here. So what we are doing is we are running this sample project, getting the data inside Azure, and then taking that input and using Stream to output it. Stream analytics job to input and output that data. Run a query on that data, whatever we get, and output it to Power BI. Then we can see that data inside Power BI workspace, the connecting it, giving it authorization, and in the end we are just using a sample this web application to show this data inside web using that API. So here's the final result.